It's just in. As the US has warned China that by the 1st of November, if China doesn't play ball with their rare earth minerals, then they will add a 100% tariff. China has responded. China has said, and I read, that they will retaliate, vigorously opposes what the US has done, and they will fight to the end. So that means that this isn't just as one problem finished, another one is just about to begin. And let me tell you, China is not happy because they're basically saying that they're sick and tired of the ball games that are being played with the US.
100% tariffs on China. Market crashes. Bitcoin down 15% in minutes. Farmers begging for bailouts. This isn't some future warning. This is happening right now. The trade war just escalated to levels we've never seen. Threats over rare earth minerals. Global markets tanked over a misunderstanding, then walked back like nothing happened. China didn't blink. They went to other customers, built new supply chains. Meanwhile, American farmers are watching their soybeans rot in storage, wondering why nobody's buying. And the people who voted for this, they're standing in the economic wreckage asking, how did this happen? Everyone told you. Economists, trade experts, basic math. But here we are, markets bleeding, portfolios destroyed, prices spiking, all because MAGA decided to run global trade policy like a Twitter beef. And the wildest part, some people still think we're winning. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Today we're breaking down the 100% tariff disaster, the market chaos, the farmer bailouts, the crypto manipulation, and the Americans paying for all of it. This is what happens when economic policy meets ideology. Let's get into it.
100% tariff increase on China. That's what President Trump just said. By November 1st or sooner, China and all imports from China will have 100% tariff increase. So he was really upset this morning when he found out China double-crossed them. So not only did they send a letter to every country but us telling everybody they're going to control the exports of rare earth minerals, but they did it under the guise and camouflage of Israel and Palestine. Trump could not have been feeling more betrayed, probably, more double-crossed. So now not only is that happening, but you saw the Department of War, per the Wall Street Journal a few weeks back, say $25 billion just went to more than double our missile supply because there's a growing conflict with China. And now we have this tit for tat, back and forth. Tensions are growing. Conflict is brewing. Where does it go from here? We don't know. But I don't see it going anywhere nice or anywhere good if this doesn't change. If the narrative doesn't change, there's only one direction in which this can go, of which nobody wants. So let's pray, let's stay sober-minded and alert, and I'll let you know what happens.
So MAGA influencers are celebrating because China supposedly blinked and called begging to negotiate, except that never actually happened. China didn't panic. They went to Southeast Asia and Brazil, locked in long-term deals with the EU for electric vehicles, built entirely new supply chains. Meanwhile, these guys are recording victory videos about negotiations that literally don't exist. Here's the part they still don't grasp. Tariffs are taxes on Americans, not China, not Xi Jinping, you. When 100% tariffs hit Chinese goods, China doesn't write a check. Walmart raises prices. Target raises prices. That phone you need for work just got more expensive. Tools for your business? More expensive. Everything. You're celebrating a tax increase on yourself while calling it winning. And every economist, every single one not being paid to lie, told you this would happen. So maybe stop sharing fake victory posts and start checking your bank account. That's the real scoreboard.
So guess who blinked? It wasn't the US, China did. Almost immediately after the United States raised our tariff against China to 245%, China was on the phone saying, we want to talk to you guys about trade. So once again, a younger nation, 1. 5,000-year-old nation, 0.
Here we have a classic example of someone who is so delusional, they start to make up fake news. And China never called after the big tariffs. What happened is China went out to Southeast Asia and then struck deals with the European Union for their EV cars. Like, mate, please do your research before you go out making videos, mate.
Donald Trump tanked the market because of a misunderstanding with China. So Donald Trump made this long post on Friday basically saying a threat to China that he was going to be putting a 100% tariff on them starting on November 1st. But then China came out and said that their rare earth export was not a total ban and that they weren't doing really anything that Donald Trump was accusing them of. And because of this clarification by China, Donald Trump just now posted this. Don't worry about China. It will be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China.
Global markets just crashed over a misunderstanding. Let that sink in. Threats got posted based on incomplete information. Billions in market value tanked. People got liquidated. Then it had to be walked back with "I just had a bad moment." I had a bad moment. No, we had a bad moment. The economy got nuked because someone didn't read the memo properly. This is what you get when foreign policy runs on impulse and social media posts. Real money disappears. Real people lose retirement savings, all because complex trade negotiations get treated like reality TV drama. Here's your reality. This is the next 4 years. One emotional post can wipe out your portfolio overnight. What you need to do, diversify now. Don't keep everything in assets that swing wildly on social media mood swings. Build emergency funds. Have multiple income streams. Because governing by gut feeling means your financial stability is one post away from collapse.
Donald Trump tanked the market because of a misunderstanding with China. So Donald Trump made this long post on Friday basically saying a threat to China that he was going to be putting a 100% tariff on them starting on November 1st. But then China came out and said that their rare earth export was not a total ban and that they weren't doing really anything that Donald Trump was accusing them of. And because of this clarification by China, Donald Trump just now posted this. Don't worry about China. It will be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China.
So now we know why America really didn't want us to see what they was doing over in China. And if you don't know, click the search bar and see how China just exposed America. That designer that you've been spending your money on, $200, $300, $400, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, all of your hard-earned money basically been going to knockoffs, if that's what y'all want to call them, Canal Street specials, if I might say. China is basically saying that your favorite designer gets their bags, their clothes, their shoes made in China, not Italy. So when you thinking you getting the finest of threads, you getting them from China. And now China is saying that they got them for the low, like they been had them. But they just not keeping it a secret no more. So what they're saying is that designer that we've been wearing, they've been making. And they make it for cheaper. And we might as well not buy that designer that we've been buying. It's kind of strange to me because a lot of people been losing their lives to get designer. It's a lot of people that lost their lives over designer. And you're telling me that China's been making it? All I can say is this trade war is exposing the real from the fake and the fake from the real, if that makes sense. I'm out.
Hold up. China just exposed that all those luxury brands people are literally dying over are made in China, not Italy. People paying $3,000 for bags they thought were handcrafted in Italian workshops, but it's the same factory making Canal Street knockoffs. This is the funniest casualty of the trade war. China basically said, you know that luxury you're going into debt for? We make it. You can buy it from us for 90% less. Real talk. You've been paying for branding, not quality, for the story, for status. That's fine if you know what you're buying, but if you're sacrificing rent money or risking your safety for a marked up label, you got played. The trade war is accidentally exposing every grift in the luxury industry, and honestly, that might be the only good thing to come from this mess. Lesson: stop worshiping brands that are literally scamming you. Invest in assets that actually build wealth, not designer bags made in the same factory as the $40 version.
Everybody's help to get this video to go viral. I need to get the attention of President Trump. President Trump, if you are seeing this video, I implore you to go see what is happening in Cambodia right now. China really thinks that they're going to pull a fast one on you. In the country of Cambodia right now, Prime Minister Hun Sen is bringing in so much corporation from China. And what I mean by that is he is stealing land from the native people and selling it to these big corporations and getting a huge kickback. Not only that, all their goods are being imported from Cambodia to avoid your tariff. Now, this is the video to prove it, and you need to send somebody to check what is going on in Cambodia.
Moments later, an enormous arch greeted us with signage in 2 languages, the local language Khmer and beneath Chinese. But it's very clear who is in charge of this special economic zone rising from...
Fuck! Let me guess, Baron Trump open along? Can we start a petition where the president just shuts the fuck up and negotiates behind the scenes?
Thank you. Finally, someone said it. Can we start a petition where negotiations happen behind the scenes instead of on social media? Yes, please. For everyone's bank account, yes. Real diplomacy happens in quiet rooms with professionals, not at 3 a.m. on Truth Social, not in all caps threats while the entire world watches. When rage tweets about tariffs go out, real people lose real money instantly. Traders get liquidated. Retirement accounts drop. Small businesses can't afford inventory anymore. And for what? So it can look tough to the base? This isn't strength. This is expensive theater. Real strength is securing deals without crashing the economy, protecting American interests without making Americans poorer. Bottom line, you deserve competent leadership, not chaos masquerading as authenticity. If you voted for telling it like it is, you're now learning the difference between authenticity and actual skill. One costs you nothing, the other costs you everything.
I know so many people that were liquidated yesterday. Now I'm pretty lucky. I am pretty much only in spot positions, but I do perpetual trade, and I did get hit yesterday. But not like the rest of the people out here, man. Dude, I'm on X. Everybody got flushed completely. And it's all because the president tweeted. And like, yes, guys, you out there that are just using only perpetuals to trade, like that's not investing. You're literally just holding leverage positions that you're definitely able to get liquidated out of, obviously. But seeing the market go up and down and not give a shit about fundamentals or technicals just because of what the president tweets really makes me want to say.
We have some huge breaking news right now. Donald Trump has officially announced his tariffs policy, and it's as bad, really, as you can expect. He has announced 25% tariffs on all goods coming in from Mexico and Canada, while 35% tariffs on all goods coming in from China. These tariffs are going to raise costs on American consumers, without a doubt. And big box retailers like Walmart and Lowe's have already said that if Donald Trump imposes tariffs on Chinese-made goods, they're going to raise costs on American families. Well, here we go, folks. That's what's about to happen. People voted for this economic policy, and now with this economic policy, people are going to be hurting in their pockets. Because when you think about it, a 35% tariff on Chinese goods make up a vast majority of imported goods here in America. That's only going to raise costs on consumers, and the same thing goes for Mexican goods and Canadian goods that have a 25% tariff on them. We won't really know how this economic policy plays out until he takes office, so he could very well switch it, but this is what he plans on doing on day one. Comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Let me make sure I understand this correctly. 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, 35% on China. And this is supposed to help Americans? Most of what you buy, groceries, electronics, cars, clothes, comes from these countries. When tariffs go up, companies don't eat the cost. They pass it directly to you. Walmart already confirmed it. Lowe's confirmed it. If tariffs hit, prices go up. So congratulations. You just voted for a 25 to 35% sales tax on yourself. You spent 4 years screaming about inflation, then elected policies that actively create more of it. Here's what you need to do. Start documenting prices now. Screenshot grocery receipts. Track your expenses. Because when everything gets more expensive in a few months and someone tries to gaslight you, you'll have proof. You're not crazy. Basic economics is real, and you're about to feel every percentage point of it.
So President Trump today has announced that he's going to put on Chinese goods a 100% tariff on top of all of the other tariffs that he's done. And what this means is that starting on November 1st, anything you purchase that originated in China is going to have an additional 100% tariff on it. It's going to become much more expensive. It's going to be really hard for Donald Trump to walk this back, given how many times he's already walked back a bunch of his threats. And it's going to be highly unlikely that China is going to, in the near term, put together some sort of reconciliation offer, because at the moment, Donald Trump is kind of over a barrel. And the reason he's over a barrel right now is because the United States doesn't have a lot of bargaining power. And also, China has so far refused to make any soy purchases, which is really damaging farmers. And so here's what this means for you in the short term. In the short term, starting November 1st, you're going to see prices go up again. and you're going to pay more because the consumer pays most of the tariffs. A lot of companies might go bankrupt because they've been absorbing the cost of these tariffs so far. That's why we haven't seen a massive increase in prices across the board. A lot of companies are eating the tariffs. You can go Google, if you want to see more about how this works, you can go and Google GM and Ford and how much money they've lost this year as the result of those tariffs that they're not trying to pass on to consumers. And what's going to happen is most of that tariff money is going to be used to offset the cost of the Republican Party's tax cut for billionaires. It's not going to offset all of it. Remember, the Republican Party passed a massive tax cut for billionaires. Most of us are never going to see more than a few $1,000s over the course of our lifetimes for those tax cuts. And those tax cuts are going to cost trillions upon trillions of dollars. So that's where some of the money is going to go. Another part of where that tariff money is going to go to places like this, farms. And the reason it's going to go to farms is because Donald Trump is right now putting together an aid package to farmers who have been impacted by the collapse in prices with agriculture as the result of China not purchasing anything. If this upsets you, it should. You don't deserve to pay the cost of these tariffs so that farmers can have a bailout. Farmers don't work harder than you. You work hard too. You earn your money, and you don't deserve to have your entire life upended just because we have lunatics running this country. You just don't.
This is the part that makes my blood boil. Tariffs destroy agricultural markets. China stops buying soybeans. Farmers lose everything. And the solution? Bailouts funded by regular Americans paying those same tariffs. So you working your 9 to 5, paying bills, minding your business, are now funding welfare checks for people who voted for the exact policies that destroyed their own industry. Let's be crystal clear. This is socialism for people who scream against socialism. This is bootstrap pulling until they need a handout, then suddenly it's save American agriculture. The hypocrisy is staggering. Single mom needs food stamps? That's welfare, figure it out. Farmer who voted for this disaster? Here's $16 billion. If this pisses you off, good. Channel that anger, remember it. Because this is the playbook. Privatize the profits, socialize the losses, and make sure working people pay for both.
And so here's what you should do. First and foremost, you should go on Google, go to Google News, and you should look up the new China tariffs, Donald Trump and the China tariffs, and read up on them so you understand why he's doing it and what the impact is going to be. The second thing you should do is you should make a list of your representatives, and you should start occasionally calling them. Call your member in the House of Representatives, and then call your senator as well, and let them know that they need to, at some point, stand up to Donald Trump and make clear that this is causing too much damage and it needs to stop.
US-China tensions have entered a new stage, and once again, Trump will win. Here is what happened this week. China tightened export controls on rare earth metals, the materials the world needs for chips, EVs, and defense. Trump fired back right away, announcing a 100% tariff on Chinese goods. But here is what most people missed. China's move wasn't random. It came after the US imposed steep port fees on ships owned or operated by Chinese companies. And behind that, Washington's frustration that China stopped buying US soybeans. The result, global stock markets plunged, panic spread. But honestly, there is no need to panic. This pattern, fight, pause, repeat, will probably last for years. And just like every round before, Trump will declare victory. Because in Trump's world, there is only one outcome, winning. But here is the twist. China is fine with that, because now China quietly holds more of the cards. The pattern goes like this. China makes a move. The US reacts. Negotiations happen. China partially rolls back. Then Trump announces victory, but China actually pays no price. That's what this new phase looks like. My personal view, there won't be a major military conflict. The shouting may sound ugly, but it's the reality we will have to live with. And over time, more Americans will realize something simple. China doesn't actually want to replace the US. Do you know why? I'm Yuan, a Chinese founder and scholar unpacking how this country and world really works. Follow for granted takes from someone who has lived, built, and studied both China and the world. Check my bio page for more. Thank you.
Okay, this take is actually spot on. The pattern will repeat for years. Victory gets declared. China pays no price. That's exactly what's happening. Here's the playbook. Threats get made. Markets panic. China makes tiny adjustment. Victory gets claimed. Base celebrates. Nothing changes. Repeat weekly. And China's fine with it. Why? They're playing the long game. They're not worried about social media posts. They're building 20-year infrastructure plans and supply chain dominance. MAGA treats global economics like a reality show. Who won this week? Nobody wins weekly in a trade war. Everyone loses quarterly. If you're trying to build wealth in this chaos, stop reacting to noise. Focus on fundamentals. Diversify income streams. Build skills that can't be tariffed or tweeted away. This circus isn't ending. The people thriving are the ones who stopped watching the drama and started planning around it.
US basically cannot negotiate with China anymore. Trump's threatening 100% tariff on China again. But here's the thing, is China even in the wrong? So China just restricted rare earth. The stuff your phones, the EVs, and the fighter jets literally cannot work without. And honestly, the US has done this exactly the same thing before. So why are we acting like China is the bad guy? Because the US keep restricting things selling to China. Why we cannot do the same thing? Nasdaq crashes, the soybean farmers cannot sell their soybeans, the tech company panic, and Trump's like November 1st, full tariffs. Meanwhile, China is just flexing its power. That's strategy. People, not some random move. Trump even thought about canceling his meeting with Xi Jinping, both sides throwing punches. But China holds the cards here. Rare earth are their secret weapon, and the US, totally dependent. So let's be real. China is protecting its national interest, same as the US would. Trump calls it hostile, market panic, but it's just a smart strategy. Trump escalates, markets crash, China plays chess. Who's really winning this trade war? Drop your thoughts below.
What we're seeing is as the West, especially United States, goes into decline, and when all the social problems start bubbling up, what they try to do is to distract people, to shift the blame and shift the attention. And the way they do that is to blame China. I see a lot of amusement. I mean, a lot of the Chinese netizens find it funny that CIA has resorted to like basically open source recruitment on the internet. And it does show their desperation. There is a lot of ignorance about China. And a lot of the ignorance is as direct consequences of action of the U.S. government, for example. And in the long term, this ignorance is actually not helping even organizations like CIA, because they just not going to find talented people or people who are knowledgeable to work for them anymore. We have U.S. politicians, especially in the Congress, who openly says that the goal of United States should be regime change in China. But it's not going to work, because they have so few people in U.S. that truly understand China.
Did Hillary Clinton just get exposed by her own emails? Newly declassified documents that were released today reveal Clinton personally greenlit the plan to smear Trump with fake Russian collusion claims, just to distract all of us from her infamous email scandal. Yep, you heard that correctly. The whole Russian narrative was cooked up to shift attention from Clinton's missing emails, according to special counsel John Durham's investigation. Again, these documents are declassified. You can read them yourselves. Even worse, this plot involved high-level Democratic operatives, the FBI, and media leaks designed to mislead all of us, the voters. It was literally designed to, quote, go to Olympic levels, end quote, of distraction. Now, here's the kicker. Years of headlines, endless investigations, millions spent, and it was all built on a deliberate lie. So, are we finally seeing justice here? Or is it just the tip of the iceberg? You got to let me know what you think about this in the comments, because it's getting deeper and a lot more is being revealed as the weeks go by. Appreciate you.
Can we talk about the absurdity here? The US restricts what China can buy. China responds by restricting what the US can buy. And somehow, we're shocked? We're the victims. This is literally, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions as foreign policy. The US said, you can't have our advanced chips. China said, cool, you can't have our rare earth minerals that you need to make those chips. And now MAGA's mad? That's not how leverage works. Here's reality. The US got comfortable being the only superpower. We could dictate terms. Now we're in a world where other countries can actually hit back, and we don't know how to handle it. Real lesson for life. Understand leverage. In any negotiation, the person with more options has more power. China can sell to Europe, Asia, South America. They built redundancies. The US? We're dependent on rare earths. We don't mine and supply chains. We don't control. That's not China being unfair. That's us learning we're not irreplaceable.
The trade war has started again. Donald Trump has put 100% tariff on China starting on November 1st. Why? Because China responded with a restriction that Donald Trump had put against China. Now think about it. China has put restrictions again on the rare earth minerals. So they decided that they will not sell most of the earth minerals to the US. And not just to the US, but the entire world, because they don't want the US to go to a third country to buy earth minerals. Donald Trump is furious, he's upset, right? He feels like, China shouldn't have done that and all of that. China didn't used to do these type of things. And in fact, China doesn't put sanctions on countries like that. China is simply responding. Now think about it. The United States makes computer chips. In order for them to make computer chips, they have to get earth minerals. Now, because they have advanced computer chips that the whole world wants to buy from the US, at one point, with the competition of China, they put restriction on China. Decided, they don't want China to buy US computer chips because China is so advanced that as soon as they buy something, they can do their own chips based on what they learn from the West, which is normal. That is how China became China, because they shipped all the manufacturing to China, taught them how to make all those stuff, and then they became more powerful than the people who started the whole thing. That's what China does. So because of that, the US put restriction, basically sanction on China. They don't want China to buy American computer chips. But the irony of the entire thing is that the US actually buys processed mineral earth from China to make those computer chips.
Yo guys, this just dropped and markets are getting wrecked. Trump just posted on Truth Social threatening massive new tariffs on China and canceling his meeting with President Xi. Futures are red, the market's panicking. But here's where I'm looking for opportunity. If these tariffs actually go through, US manufacturing and defense stocks could explode. Think Lockheed Martin, Caterpillar, Nucor. Money's gonna rotate out of China exposure and back into Made in America. I'm not saying go all in, but the setup's there. Stay ready. This week's about to get volatile. Follow for my watch list drop later today.
Okay, this is wild. 30 minutes, just 30 minutes before Trump announced his 100% tariff on Chinese goods, a few massive Bitcoin short trades popped up. And then right after Trump's post, Bitcoin tanked. 15% down, gone in minutes. Those short traders closed their shorts and walked away with millions. On blockchain data shows that at least 3 big players, even one of the traders, flipped from long to short right before Trump hit post. Everything is timing so well. This is access to the information that we normal people don't have. So the question is, who knew? Because if somebody close to Trump leaked the information, the tariff news early, that is now trading. That's basically insider access. This is where it gets a little bit sketchy. We all know that Trump's family is deep in crypto. They've got the Trump meme coin, Donald Jr. and Eric launched World Liberty Financial and their own token project. Eric is out there talking about Bitcoin mining, which need a lot of energy. So whether or not they touch this trade, they already play in the same market that just crashed. Whether it's Trump or someone else, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But for my audience here, you have to understand, politicians time stock trade before big announcements, like Pelosi, like Purdue. Now they're doing in crypto. No rules, no oversight, no paper trail. Meanwhile, regular traders get wiped out. By the end of the day, they can transfer their money to anywhere else around the world they want. You will not be able to find them. Billions in long position liquidated. People lost everything in minutes. And those few early shorts, they cashed out like it was planned. They cashed out right after the announcement, right after everything dropped. And let's be real. For the elites, people are not citizens. You are assets to be harvested. They milk ordinary people for profit. Maybe Trump's family did not profit directly. Maybe someone else did. But the pattern is the same. Those who have access win first. Everybody else lost.
This is the dark part nobody wants to address. Massive crypto shorts placed 30 minutes before the tariff announcement. Bitcoin crashes 15%. Those traders walk away with millions. Everyone else gets liquidated. Either that's incredible luck or someone knew something they shouldn't have. And here's the kicker. People connected to power are deep in crypto. They have their own tokens, their own projects. They're actively profiting from these exact markets. I'm not saying they leaked it, but I am saying the system is designed for them to win while you lose. And there's zero oversight. Your reality check. You are not playing the same game as them. They have information you'll never see, access you'll never get, and they profit while you get wiped out. What you do, never leverage what you can't afford to lose. Assume the game is rigged because it is. Build wealth through things they can't front run. Skills, real assets, relationships. You can't beat insider trading, but you can stop playing rigged games.
Usually videos like this comes with full article with more context, and it's on my Substack, link in bio, or visit grumpychineseguy.com. Thank you for all the following and the subscriptions. You guys keep me going, and thank you. Take care.
The trade war's back. President Donald Trump has announced a 100% tariff on all Chinese imports starting November 1st, his toughest move yet. The move came just a day after Beijing imposed new export controls on rare earth minerals, materials critical for chips, electric cars, and defense tech. Trump called China's action an extraordinarily aggressive move, scrapped his meeting with President Xi, and vowed to fight back hard. In a fiery Truth Social post, Trump accused China of trying to hold the world hostage, promised more countermeasures, including export bans on US AI software and semiconductor tools. The decision marks the sharpest escalation since the 2025 spring tariff crisis, when both sides raised duties and markets crashed. Now Beijing is hinting at its own retaliation, port fees, new bans, and possible restrictions on US goods. Talks have collapsed, the planned summit is off. What was once a trade dispute is now turning into a full-blown economic standoff, with both sides digging in for a long fight. Washington and Beijing are once again at the edge of confrontation. This time, there may be no quick truce. Follow Map Narratives for more unfolding global stories.
Crypto market has been hit hard, and this is because Trump just threatened heavy tariffs on China and export restriction. So this trade war continues, and Trump is using it obviously in his advantage. So news have actually had been shockwave globally, and it hit the crypto market hard. And we've seen that Bitcoin has been down more than 6%, Ethereum down more than 12%, Solana down more than 12%. And most people right now, they are panicking. But the truth is, when such things happen, it's when the weak hand falls and the strong hand rises, right? This is how wealth transfer is created, from the weak hand to the strong hand. Whilst everyone else is scared and is being they are handing their cryptos to people who are calm, right? So this is not the time to actually panic. This is the time to accumulate more and more crypto. This is a time whereby you need to think, not to panic or do things emotionally. Strong hands don't fear the bloodbath. They see it as a chance to accumulate even more. So even for you, I want you guys to not panic in this time. It's not as devastating as it looks, right? I understand your portfolio might be down, and that's okay, because the crypto market moves like that. And in fact, Because obviously, there are other people involved now in cryptos, unlike before. It's now mainstream. You have governments and so forth. So such things are going to happen. Market is going to be different from what we used it to be.
All right, this guy actually gets it. This is when wealth transfers from weak hands to strong hands. He's right. Every crash is a redistribution event. But here's what people miss. Strong hands aren't about money. They're about discipline. When your portfolio drops 20%, panic selling is easy. That's exactly when wealth transfers out of your account and into someone calm. But staying calm doesn't mean being delusional. There's a huge difference between holding quality assets through volatility and holding garbage because you can't admit you made a bad bet. So how do you know? If you did research, understand fundamentals, and believe in what you hold, dips are opportunities. If you're just gambling on hype and don't understand what you own, maybe this crash is your wake-up call. And never invest money you can't afford to lose. The people making money off these crashes, they're playing with money they don't need tomorrow. You can't have strong hands if that money's for rent next month. The market will recover. It always does. But you need to be stable enough to survive until it does. That means emergency funds, no over-leveraging, and knowing what you actually own. Strong hands win, but only if they're holding something worth keeping.